Hey everyone, Mr. here. This is a guide for round 10 of the FIA Manufacturer Series taking place at Sardegna A with the Group 3 cars. Let's get this started. As you're about to start a new lap, make sure you nail down this final hairpin as there is a long straight that follows after, so you want to make sure you get a fast clean exit so you can maximize the car's speed along the way. For time trial, qualifying, and the race, I had the brake balance at 0 since the Viper felt pretty good with the brake balance at 0. Bring yourself towards the right side of the track, and your first braking point is before the wall on the right ends. Brake hard for a short while, turn in when the blue stuff on the right ends, ease off of the brakes as you're turning in, and quickly get on the throttle. Then you want to bring yourself towards the right side of the track once again, and your next braking point just after you pass the 50-meter board. You want to brake hard for a short moment, then ease off of the brakes as you're turning in, but stay towards the left side of the track. You then want to use a little bit more braking as you're approaching this yellow sign that is on the left. Use a little bit of braking, then do lots of throttle control to try to get the car rotated as soon as you can, and then fully accelerate your way out. Bring yourself towards the right, brake after you pass the 50-meter board, right after you pass this PlayStation sign behind the 50-meter board. Brake hard for a short moment, ease off of the brakes as you're turning in, and as you're pointing away from the marshal stand, or once you're pointing towards this empty space, that is where you can start to gradually accelerate your way out. Big props to Tijani for pointing that out in one of his guided videos, so check his channel out, he has some really good stuff. Bring yourself towards the right side of the track, and you're going to want to brake a little earlier than what you think, so brake before you reach the 100-meter board, brake as much as you can in a straight line. And what I like to do with the Viper is briefly go down to first gear to get the car rotated a bit faster, then go back up to second gear, and then get on the throttle. You'll be doing something similar to that towards the end of the lap. Now for this chicane, you can take this right turn flat out, but do a little lift if your car is understeery. And just before you reach the barrier that is on the right, you want to use just a little bit of braking. Go down to 4th gear for extra rotation, then back up to 5th gear and carefully accelerate your way out. Finally, for this final hairpin, brake before you reach the 100-meter board, and just like the previous hairpin we went through, brake hard for a short while, go down to 1st gear for a bit more rotation, then back up to 2nd gear and accelerate your way out. This right turn can be taken flat out, and that is pretty much it for the lap guide. So we'll finish up this lap and then go ahead and take a look at the strategies. For the qualifying session, you have 5 minutes to try to get a good qualifying time, so you'll have 2 chances to try to get the best qualifying time possible. The tower is a ×5, and while you may think that that is pretty high, it's not too high because this track has a lot of high-speed sections. However, because there are a lot of high-speed sections, Slipstream is going to be incredibly useful. So as you see in front of me, there's a bunch of cars just trying to get into the Slipstream as they're getting ready to do their qualifying lap. However, it is a very double-edged sword, especially at a track like Sardegna A. So while the Slipstream will help your car go a lot faster and shave off a lot of time, if you or the car in front of you mess up, then you're going to risk losing quite a bit of time and it can easily backfire on you. And with the Slipstream, if you're under someone's Slipstream and you're going down the main straight or the uphill straight like this part over here, you want to brake pretty early because you're going a heck of a lot faster, so you'll need a larger braking distance to make the turn. But I will say that if you're in a lower rated lobby, you're better off qualifying by yourself because even though Slipstream can be incredibly useful, you do risk getting interrupted by someone in front of you messing up, and if they hold you up or you join with them by messing up with them, then you're going to end up losing time and you don't want to lose time. But in a higher rated lobby, like in the top splits, Slipstream qualifying is going to be a huge thing for the qualifying session. So yeah, 2 chances to try to get a good qualifying time, so make sure that they count. But moving on over to the race strategies or the race session, we are doing 15 laps at Sardegna A with the Group 3 cars. Both the racing soft and medium tires are provided, and they're both required for this race, so you do have to use both tire compounds so you don't get a 1-minute penalty after the race ends. Fuel is a ×2, so fuel is not an issue at all, but the tire wear is a ×5, which is going to create a bit of an interesting scenario. What I mean is that depending on your driving style and the car that you're using, your racing soft tires can last as little as 7 to 8 laps or as much as 11 laps. And once again, it'll depend on your driving style and the car that you're using. So for example, with me in the Dodge Viper, I was able to actually get 10 laps out of the racing soft tires, but for the Nissan GT-R in front of me, they were able to get 8 laps out of the racing soft tires. So your pit window is going to be pretty big, and if there's one thing that you absolutely want to know, you want to know how many laps you can get out of your racing soft tires. So let's say you can do 10 laps on these soft tires, but you got a bad qualifying time, so you're starting in the middle, so you say, okay, I'm going to start on the racing medium tires. Because you know you can do 10 laps on the racing soft tires, you can easily pit at the end of lap 5 to switch over from your racing medium to the racing soft tires, and then you'll be able to do the last 10 laps on the racing soft tires. And also, if you're starting in the very front, start on the racing soft tires to try to get away from everyone, which is what First Place and I are doing. And if you're starting in the middle or in the back, start on the racing medium tires, get the slower tire compound out of the way, so when you switch on over to the soft tires, you'll be able to go a bit faster actually, because you used up a bit of fuel already. Also, do note that some people starting within the top 10 may be starting on the racing medium tires to try to save the faster tire compound for when the car gets lighter. So that is something that you do want to be aware of, because some people might be trying that out. So if you're starting on the racing soft tires and someone in front of you is starting on the racing medium tires, you'll kind of know right away as soon as turn 1. So if you find out right away that they're on the racing medium tires, you want to try to get around them as soon as you can so you don't get held up too much by them. And Slipstream is going to be incredibly useful. It's useful in the qualifying session, and it's very useful in the race itself. So you can even use the Slipstream to set up for overtakes and to work with other cars. So for example, First Place and I were pretty much working together by taking advantage of the Slipstream and doing a bit of bump drafting. So there was a bit of bump draft that happened earlier because I was able to go fast enough to close the gap between First Place and I, give them a little bump. They go a bit faster. I lose a little speed, but with the Slipstream, I go a bit faster again, give them a little bump, rinse and repeat. We're both going to be going even faster. And by working together, it can be possible to break away from those behind you or even catch up to those in front of you. So Slipstream, it is a very useful tool here at Sardegna A, so you want to try to make the most out of it. But anyways, move on over to the pit window. So as I mentioned earlier, you can see people pitting as early as lap 7 or 8 to switch on over from the racing soft to the medium tires, assuming they started on the soft tires. So the Nissan GT-R, they pitted at the end of lap 8, and I'm going to say that's probably going to be the lap that you'll see most people pit on. Whereas with other people, it is possible to see them stretch the soft tires a bit longer. So for example, with me, I pitted at the end of lap 10. So when to pit, it'll depend on your racing situation and how long you personally can make your racing soft tires last. So once again, you want to get a good idea of how long you can make those tires last. Your pit loss is a little under 21 seconds. So because of the pit loss, you only want to go for a 1 stop. And the thing is that The pit stop is in the middle of the long main straight, so you will be coming out pretty slow, and those who are still out, they're going to be going pretty fast. So as you saw right now, the GTR was easily able to catch up to me because I was exiting the pit stop at a much slower speed. So if you're starting on the racing soft tires, your pit window is from laps 7 to 11. If you're starting on the racing medium tires, your pit window is from laps 4 to 8. And I know I've said this about a trillion times at this point, but I just want to repeat this one last time. Get a good idea of how long you can make your racing soft tires last. That way you'll know during the race day when you'll need to pit, whether you're starting on the racing soft or the medium tires. But that's pretty much it for the general guide. This is a one-stop race where you need to use both the racing soft and medium tires. Fuel is not an issue, but when it comes to tire wear, you can make the racing soft tires last as little as 7 laps or as much as 11 laps. But anyways, moving on over to places to overtake and the penalty serving zone. The main straight that we just finished up is one of the best places to get the overtake done, especially with the help of Slipstream. And don't forget, whether you're going for the overtake or not, if you're under someone's Slipstream, just make sure you slow down a bit earlier than usual, because with the Slipstream you're going a heck of a lot faster, especially with these high-speed sections. So you'll require a larger braking distance to be able to make the turn and hopefully not punt the car in front of you. The next place to get the overtake done is coming up towards this back straight, especially with this uphill section. You can definitely catch up to the car in front of you, just like what I'm doing right now. And you can try to go for the overtake as you're approaching this next hairpin. And once again, with the Slipstream, brake a little bit earlier, as you'll be going a lot faster than usual. But after that, it is single file line once again until after this chicane. So if the car in front of you messed up at this chicane, it is possible to try to go for the overtake. And after that, that is pretty much going to be it, as we are approaching the main straight again. And once again, main straight, really good place to get the overtake done. And you'll noticeably be catching up to the car in front of you just after you make this turn, unless they messed up the exit of the turn. And in a moment, I'll show the penalty serving zone, in which it's actually hanging out on the main straight. And the penalty serving zone, it is hanging out just before the pit stop, before the start finish line. And I think it might even be possible to cheese the penalty serving zone. So let's say you're going to pit in at lap 7 and you got a penalty for some reason. I think it's actually possible to serve the penalty as you're going into the pit stop, so that you barely end up losing time. And I swear I saw someone do that and actually had it work in their favor. So I just wanted to put that out there, that could possibly be a thing. But anyways, that is pretty much it from me. Once again, one-stop race where you need to use both the racing soft and medium tires. Get a good idea of how long you can make your racing soft tires last, because depending on your car and driving style, they'll last either 7 laps or up to 11 laps. Slipstream is ultra useful in qualifying and the race itself, and teamwork makes the meme work. But anyways, that is pretty much it for me. This marks the end of stage 1 of the 2021 FIA series. The next stage should be starting up soon, I think within 2 weeks of the time I post this video. So once this race is over, you can take a small break, but not too long, because the next stage is starting up soon. But anyways, that is pretty much it for this guide. So if this guide helps, you can press the like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I do have a YouTube membership thing, which you can check out in the description down below. But that's all from me. This is Mr. MCA. Wish you a good race, and I'll see you in the next video.